We have the beginning of the parasha. Aaron HaKohen is being instructed to light the menorah, and famously the pasuk says, at the beginning of the parasha, pasuk Gimel, Vayas Kain Aaron. Vayas Kain Aaron. Rashi, Lahagid Shivra Shel Aaron Shalosh Shino, means a Sefri, Chazal. Says Rashi, there's a gavaldik shvach of Aaron HaKohen. Wow. Aaron HaKohen never changed, didn't deviate from the Rabbeinu Shalom's instructions, which is the Welt's kasha. All the Achronim are busy, Mefarshim with the Torah asking this kasha. Gavaldik Zach. Aaron HaKohen didn't change. If you woke up in the morning, as we all wish that we did, with a note next to our bed from the Rabbeinu Shalom, telling us, today I would need you to do this. We know exactly what we have to do today. We know our tachlis in the world. We know our tachlis today. I'll be gavaldik. We don't live in such a world. We don't live in a world of such clarkite. Like upon him, Aaron HaKohen is given instruction from the Rebbeinu Shalom to do something. What's the gadlus? Not only that, the Torah tells us, Chol Shadaita, he saw what was going on in last week's parsha, and he started getting upset. So Rebbeinu Shalom says, don't worry, your chelek is even more chashuv. Your chelek is even more chashuv. So of course he's not going to change. The Rebbeinu Shalom told him that what you're doing is more chashuv to me than everyone else. All the Nesiim brought their karbonis moyedik, but what you're doing is much more chashuv. What's the pshat? Big shvach, pshviyas, kin Aaron, lahagid shivcha shel Aaron, moyedik kotzka. The kotzka says pshat in Rashi, over here in Pasuk Gimel, shaloshina means, you have to understand, Suk the kotzka, he's doing a mitzvah twice a day, every single day. It gets boring. What can I say? It gets boring after a while. Habit kicks in, and it gets boring. That's human nature. If that's the case, the gadlus, the shvach that Chazal are telling us about Aaron HaKohen is that for him there was a fresh geschmack. Every day there was a new opportunity. Every day he looked at it as a fresh opportunity to serve the Rabbeinu Shalom, to madlik the neighbors. That's gavaldik. He had that klarkite, that's that fresh kite. It was a whole different situation. As I stated in the Kotzka, there's a Mordecai's Fasemas also. Tofresh Lamed Hey. No?
You see that in Leishina?
Shaloshina, yeah.
Maybe he did it by route in Leishina.
Shaloshina means he didn't change from the geschmack from the beginning. From the beginning he got the instruction and he still kept with it. From the beginning. Yeah, from the beginning. That's the Kotzka. Sfasemis, by the way, you look it up, says it even more bar. The Sfasemis says in Mordecai Zach, same thing. So the Sfasemis, the derech of a human, the derech of an Adam, you get used to something. And when you get used to something, you do it by habit, you do it just because that's what we do, you put on autopilot and you go. The shvach of Aaron was that he just kept it exciting. He kept it going. There's a Mordecai from the Heilige Slonima, Torah's Avos, he brings also this Rashi. And he says, this is the Kasha, he asks on Rashi, Rashi asks, Lama Nisra Parsha Menorah, Parsha Nesiim. What's this doing over here? What's the smichas? What's the shaychas between this parsha and what we had last week's parsha, the end of Parshas Nosri with all the korbanos? So he says, Chol Sha'oz Daitai. The Aaron HaKohen felt a bit shvach. He wasn't with them. Chanukah Zabayis didn't have anything to bring. Omer HaKadosh Baruch Hu Chayecha Shelcha Gedoyla Mishalahem. You can be madlik or mate of the neighbors. Go all the gazach. Zuk the Shlomo, I'll tell you pshat. What's the reason why we say a Shechiyanu on something that only happens every so often? You don't say a Shechiyanu every day. We should. Halavai. Every morning you wake up in the morning and say Shechiyanu. Shechiyanu, good morning, good morning, we say it on every so often. A Yom Tov, when you buy something choshev maybe, depending on different shitas. What's the pshat? Because when a person does something every so often, there's a more geschmack, there's more excitement to it. Right? You got that Zeicher S, the whole thing. Everyone gets excited about it, right? Asher Yotza not, Krishma not. That's how we are. We're human beings, and that's how the Rebbeinu Shalom created us. But our job is to make sure we keep things exciting. Zuk the Slonima, that's the pshat in Shelcha G'dolim Mishalehem. What does that mean? What, lighting the menorah was taka greater than bringing the korbanos? Gemara Megillah Tazayin about bringing korbanos. Moedik, right? David HaMelech. It's so much. But yet over here, Chazal are telling us, no. The Rebbeinu Shalom says, your avodah is much greater. Zuk the Slonima, I'll tell you pshat. Because when you bring a korban once, Chanukah comes to Mizbeach. The Mizbeach, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Of course you're going to be singing and dancing. Of course you're going to have a geschmack with all the excitement of everything going on. But to do something on a daily basis and still feel the excitement and still feel the geschmack, so the Rabbeinu Shalom, yours is much greater. The avodah that you are going to put in is much greater to me than what they're bringing, because for them to be excited about it is not a big deal. But for you to continue your excitement, is Taki Gewaldig. There's a Murdik in Maral. The Maral brings in Netzach Yisrael 4 centuries ago. The Maral foresaw this. The Maral said that the way the Rabbanim Shalom created the world, everything's Bashkocha Protis, that right before Mashiach comes, there's going to be a lot of situation of people being Chayzer Tshuva. It doesn't only mean Baalei Tshuva who are not religious who become religious, but even people who are getting more inspired. You feel these people are getting more geschmack, more into Pnimius HaTorah is something that people are opening up much more. Zuk the Maral, it has to be that way. Why? Because the Rabbeinu Shalom is not interested in bringing the Geula, is not interested in bringing Mashiach to a generation of robots. No one, don't switch the button on autopilot and say, okay, you got married, Gewaldig. So now we go through the motions. We've got Shachris, Mincha, Mariv. When we wash, we make a bracha. We bench, we wash the Zidane. We've got Tzitzis, we've got Tefillin, we've got Yom Tovim. We just go through the motions of autopilot. So the Maral, the Rabban Shalom doesn't want that. He wants Klal Yisrael who are on fire, who are inspired, who are doing something exciting, who are excited about their Yiddishkeit. That's what he wants, and that's dafka going to be the Dor Shel Mashiach as well. The Heilige Yiddah Kodesh. The Heilige Yiddah Kodesh. Well, how did he get the name the Yiddah Kodesh? Because every single day he was so excited that he woke up. Ich bin a Yid. Shalom Sani Goy. I was recently by Reb Shimon Galai Shlita. And you've seen Reb Shimon Galai, a Yid of simcha, smiling, laughing, dancing, skavaldik. So I went there with a certain Yid that I had to take in. And he said to him, how are you always so happy? Always besimcha, always. So I wake up in the morning and I appreciate. I can breathe, I can walk, I can talk, I can move. That's exciting. I can serve the Rabbeinu Shalom today. He mamish felt it. He mamish felt it. And unfortunately, you have so many times that we don't even appreciate what we have. A Yid calls me up one time, Nebuch, as a Friar Yid, he worked in McDonald's, calls me up and says, Rabbi, can you please pray for my wife? I said, what's going on? She's expecting twins. She's in the delivery room. It's looking really, really bad. Please, can you pray? I don't even know what to do. Nebuch, I know this person's grandfather was a Chashvi Yid. We don't realize the opportunity that we have as from a Yidden to open up a Seder, or not even to open a Seder, to close your eyes and talk to Melech Malchei Amlochim. You know what opportunity that has to have a Shabbos Kodesh, to connect with the Rabbeinu Shalom, to open up a Mishnah, to open up a Chumash, to open up a Shulchan Aruch, and interact Kaviyachol with the Rabbeinu Shalom. You know what that is? It's exciting. Unfortunately, we're living in a generation where people are running to get inspired. Right? It happens everywhere. People are looking for inspiration, yeah? But people that come to Eretz Yisrael, they're running to this tish, to this tish, to this Rebbe, to this bracha, to this thing. Wherever I could go, give me more. Bracha, I'm running from one yeshiva to another yeshiva. Where can I get more and more and more from? People are looking, on one hand it's Gavaldik. On one hand, they're looking to get inspired. They're looking to get turned on, to get. But on the other hand, if you're always looking on the outside, you don't realize it comes from within. It comes from yourself. You have to work on things on your own. You're not going to get it from outside influences. It's not how it goes. You have to work in it from the inside. You have to find new, fresh perspective on what you already have. The old wine, sometimes you can learn to enjoy it better. Yes, you've done the same avodah every day, the same shachos, the same tefillin, the same tzitzis, the same birchas hamazon. But you can think about it for a minute. And by the way, that's, I think, the key point. Think about it. No one has time. We're so busy. With all the technology that we have that will theoretically make our lives easier, it doesn't. It makes our lives much more complicated and harder. But think, before you daven mincha, stop for a second and say, I'm talking to the Melech Malchei Amlochim, I'm talking to Borei Olam. You know what I'm doing right now? He wants to hear from me. The problem is it sounds a bit babyish, right? Like, no, I can't think of. That's what you need to think. I'm talking to the Melech Malchei Amlochim. I guarantee, by the way, if you do that, your Shmoneh Esrei is going to be different Shmoneh Esrei. 100%. If Emmett's thought about it. You're about to bench. You're about to put on tefillin. Just think. 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds. That's all it takes. You change the whole perspective. That's what we need to do. We need to learn to taste a new taste in the things that we've been doing for so many years. And that's the godless of what Aaron HaKohen's avodah was. He kept the freshkeit. It was so geschmack to him. I have an opportunity today now to daven mincha. I'm talking to Rabbeinu Shalom. It's gavaldik. We'll just end with one last thing. There was a boy in Russia. So how it used to work, not anymore, but how it used to work is they had a flag boy. this flag boy would stand by like the crossroads of a train to had like a lantern, like a candle inside with a light, especially during the night, and he would be able to direct the train to, to stop or to go in different directions, whatever it was. Now, one time in Russia there was a crash, very rare. Russia, they're Buduyak. They brought this young boy to the court case, and they said, listen, this is not how it works here in Russia. There are no mistakes. What were you doing? Maybe you were on your phone, maybe you were busy, you weren't concentrating. What were you doing? Because in Russia, if you make a mistake, we're taking off your head. That's just the Metzias. So they started questioning him. Did you have your lantern in your hand? He said, yeah. Did you shake it in the right direction? He said, yeah. Okay, so the judge says that you didn't do anything wrong. You were there, you were concentrating, you had the lantern, you shook it in the right direction, whatever, to tell the train what to do. The crash obviously wasn't your fault. So the boy gets up, he's ready to leave. The other side, the opposition, the prosecutor says, one second, judge, you didn't ask him a very crucial question. You didn't ask him if there was a candle that was actually lit inside the lantern. And when you ask him that question, he says, no, it wasn't lit. So they bring down this idea that we shake things in the right direction, and we could be there, and we could be concentrating. But if there's no inner flame, there's no fire that we're trying to continue to fan that flame, then we're eventually just going to get monotonous, getting on autopilot. We're going to keep on trying to machadish Yiddishkeit in the best possible way to keep it going. Shabbos Kodesh is coming. The Geschmack. Tell the kids, show the kids. Shabbos Kodesh is coming. Davening is coming. Yom Tov is coming. They feel everything. The antennas are there. And Be'ez Hashem, we should all be zoicha to have that Geschmack in Yiddishkeit our entire lives.